It usually happens at night. Your body is tired, but your mind keeps working. You replay conversations. You imagine problems that haven't happened. You try to predict outcomes before life even arrives. And most of the time, you call this responsibility. But often it is fear disguised as responsibility. Because real preparation has limits, worry does not. Worry keeps searching for certainty in a world that has never promised certainty to anyone, so the mind loops again and again. You think about the message that sounded strange, the future you cannot fully control, the mistake you wish you could undo, the possibility that something could go wrong tomorrow, and slowly your attention leaves the present moment. This is why many people feel exhausted, even during quiet periods of life. Their body is in one place, their mind is fighting battles somewhere else. The Stoics understood something most people still resist. A large part of suffering comes from trying to control what was never fully ours. Outcomes, timing, other people, the future, the past. And the more emotionally attached you become to controlling those things, the more fragile your peace becomes. Tonight, I want to show you how to stop feeding that cycle. Not by becoming emotionless, not by pretending nothing matters, but by learning the difference between responsibility and obsession. Because the goal is not to stop caring. The goal is to stop surrendering your mind to things you cannot command. If you recognize this pattern in yourself, leave a like as a quiet decision to face it honestly, instead of continuing to live on mental autopilot. One of the biggest reasons people stay trapped in anxiety is because they confuse worry with preparation. But those two things are not the same. Preparation creates action. Worry creates exhaustion. Preparation asks, "What can I do?" Worry asks, "What if?" Again and again, a man spends a week stressing about one difficult conversation. By the time the conversation finally arrives, he is already mentally exhausted. Not because reality destroyed him, because he lived through the situation 100 times before it happened. This is what chronic worry does. It forces you to emotionally pay for problems that do not yet exist. And eventually the nervous system starts treating uncertainty itself like danger. The Stoics understood that attention is limited. When attention becomes trapped inside imagined futures, you lose access to the present. So the next time anxiety starts spiraling, ask yourself one simple question. What action exists here? Not, how do I guarantee the outcome? Only what action exists here? Because action creates movement. Worry only creates mental motion. And there is a massive difference between those two things. The foundation of Stoic philosophy can be reduced to one question. What in this situation actually belongs to you? Most people never ask that clearly, so they spend years emotionally attached to things no human being can fully control. Other people's opinions, timing, outcomes, the future. Then they wonder why peace feels unstable. The Stoics divided life into two categories: what is yours and what is not. Your effort is yours, your honesty is yours, your discipline is yours, your preparation is yours, but outcomes only partially. Other people's reactions? Never fully. This distinction changes everything, because most anxiety comes from confusing influence with control. You can plant the seed, water it, protect it, but you cannot force the tree to grow faster through anxiety. And many people treat life exactly that way. They obsess over results, force timelines, check constantly for reassurance, then wonder why they feel exhausted. So try something practical. Take a sheet of paper, draw one line down the center, write, "Mine" on one side, "not mine" on the other. Then list the things consuming your attention. Your effort, mine. Whether everyone appreciates you, not mine. Your discipline, mine, guaranteeing the future, not mine. Peace begins when you stop treating borrowed problems like personal property. Worry becomes addictive because control feels safer than uncertainty. That is why people check the same message 10 times, replay the same conversation all night, refresh the same apps, looking for reassurance. The mind believes, if I keep thinking about this, maybe I can stay ahead of the pain. But real thinking creates clarity. Mental looping only recycles fear. Most overthinking is not problem solving. It is the mind trying to escape uncertainty through repetition. And repetition is not control. So here is an uncomfortable question. Are you solving the problem or rehearsing helplessness? Because many people are no longer thinking, they are looping. This is why structure matters when anxiety appears. One useful tool is the 15-minute decision window. Take 15 minutes. Write down, what exactly is the problem? What part is under my control? What action can I take next? Then decide. Act, schedule action, or consciously release it. But stop reopening the same mental case every 30 minutes, searching for certainty that does not exist. A surprising amount of anxiety comes from trying to control how other people see you. So people constantly manage themselves. They replay conversations, over-explain decisions, apologize for healthy boundaries, change personalities depending on the room. Eventually, they stop living from conviction. They start living from anticipation. Anticipation of criticism, rejection, misunderstanding. The problem is that people are unpredictable. One person respects your honesty, another calls it arrogance. One person values your silence, another interprets it negatively. You cannot fully control the story another mind creates about you. The Stoics understood this deeply. Act with integrity, then release the verdict. That is different from becoming careless. It means your identity is no longer completely dependent on approval. Before your next difficult conversation, ask yourself, what would I say here if I were trying to be clear instead of trying to be liked? That question removes enormous amounts of fear, because peace does not come from controlling perception. Peace comes from no longer outsourcing your self-worth to other people's reactions. A man once spent weeks preparing for an important outdoor event. Then the weather forecast changed. From that moment on, his peace disappeared. Every hour he checked the forecast again. Every update changed his mood, not because it was raining, because he was mentally fighting uncertainty. Preparation was not the problem. He could prepare backup plans, rent tents, adjust the schedule. All of that was useful. But obsession added nothing except suffering. This is the line most people miss. Preparation creates stability. Obsession creates exhaustion. The Stoics understood that anxiety does not stop uncertainty. It only steals presence from the present moment. So remember this. Prepare for the rain, then stop arguing with clouds. Tell me in the comments, what has been taking the most energy from your mind lately? The future, money, a relationship, someone's opinion? A mistake you keep replaying. Don't write what sounds impressive. Write what is true. Most people are trying to calm an anxious mind while constantly feeding it anxiety. Your environment trains your nervous system. The first thing many people do every morning is check their phone. Within seconds, the mind is flooded with stress. Messages, news, deadlines, comparison. Then people wonder why they feel mentally restless. All day, the Stoics protected attention carefully, because they understood something important. What repeatedly enters the mind eventually shapes the condition of the mind. If you consume urgency all day, your body learns urgency. If you constantly interrupt your own attention, Inner calm becomes almost impossible. So, here are 3 practical changes. First, do not touch your phone for the first hour after waking up. Second, remove one unnecessary anxiety trigger from your home screen. Third, create fixed times for checking stressful information instead of checking constantly. Structure calms the nervous system. Compulsive checking trains anxiety. And over time, attention becomes identity. Many people misunderstand acceptance. They think acceptance means weakness, giving up, passivity, but that is not acceptance. That acceptance says, this is reality. Now, let me respond clearly. The Stoics never taught emotional collapse. They taught accurate confrontation with reality. Because many people waste enormous energy fighting facts that already exist. A relationship ended. A mistake was made. A season changed. Reality already moved forward, but mentally they remain frozen in resistance. Imagine a sailor trapped in a storm. Acceptance does not mean liking the storm. It means recognizing the storm exists so the ship can be steered correctly. This is why acceptance creates strength. It returns attention to response. So remember this sentence. I accept the facts. I do not abandon responsibility. Acceptance without responsibility becomes passivity. Responsibility without acceptance becomes internal war. The Stoic mindset lives between those extremes. Many people stay emotionally trapped because they are waiting for another person to finally give them closure. The apology, the acknowledgement, the explanation they think. If this person finally understands my pain, then I can move on, but that creates emotional dependency, because now your peace depends on another person's awareness. And some people never become self-aware. The Stoics asked a difficult question. Why are you placing your freedom inside another person's conscience? That question hurts because it exposes something uncomfortable. Many people are attached not only to the pain, but to the hope that reality will eventually become emotionally fair. But life does not always provide perfect closure. So eventually healing requires release. Not pretending the pain never mattered. Not forgetting. Release. Write this sentence down. I release the demand that another person must fully understand me before I am allowed to live peacefully. That sentence gives power back to you. One of the fastest ways to lose control of your mind is to let worry remain vague. Undefined fears grow larger in darkness. The Stoics believed clarity creates strength because clarity restores direction. So every fear must eventually become one of 3 things: action, preparation, release. Nothing else. If the situation requires action, act. If it requires preparation, prepare. If neither action nor preparation can meaningfully change the outcome, release your mental grip on it. Imagine worrying about money. You cannot control the entire economy, but you can reduce unnecessary spending. Improve skills, create structure, that is action. Now imagine worrying about whether everyone respects you. You can act with integrity, speak clearly, carry yourself properly. But you cannot control every opinion. That belongs partly to release. So whenever anxiety rises, ask yourself 3 questions. What can I do? What can I prepare? What must I release? The mind becomes calmer when responsibility becomes concrete. Vague fear creates paralysis. Clear action creates movement. Most people believe the goal is to eliminate uncertainty. But uncertainty is part of human life. No amount of planning removes it completely. No relationship removes it forever. No success guarantees permanent safety. And when a person believes they need certainty before they can finally relax, the nervous system stays tense all the time. This is why some people cannot rest even during good periods of life. Nothing is wrong right now, but the mind keeps searching for what could go wrong. Next, the Stoics understood something most people never train. Strength is not built by controlling every outcome. Strength is built by increasing your ability to remain steady when outcomes are uncertain. That changes everything. Instead of trying to dominate reality, you develop resilience inside reality, and this matters because modern people escape discomfort immediately. Check the phone, seek reassurance, refresh the app, distract the mind. Anything to stop feeling uncertain. But discomfort is not always danger. Sometimes discomfort is simply the nervous system experiencing the absence of control. So practice small forms of uncertainty intentionally. Take a walk without distraction. Delay checking a message. Sit with uncertainty before reacting impulsively. Every time you survive uncertainty, without compulsive reaction, the brain learns. Discomfort is survivable. A man becomes free when uncertainty no longer commands his behavior. If your identity depends entirely on external reactions, your peace will always remain unstable. Opinions change, people change, circumstances change. That is why the Stoics believed every person must build internal standards strong enough to survive external instability. Not ego, standards. Ego says, I need everyone to recognize my value. Standards say, I know the kind of person I refuse to become. That creates stability. Many anxious people are not only struggling with fear, they are struggling with fractured self-trust. So they search constantly for reassurance outside themselves. But reassurance fades quickly. That is why external validation becomes addictive. The Stoic mindset interrupts this cycle by strengthening private standards instead of public performance. So tonight, write down 3 personal standards you want to live by during difficult seasons, for example. I do not lie to myself. I handle what is mine to handle. I do not trade peace for imaginary control. Character travels with you into every season of life. That is why the Stoics invested so heavily in it. So what does this look like practically? Not philosophically, practically. Start tomorrow morning. Before checking your phone, take 1 sheet of paper and divide it into 2 columns. Mine, not mine. Then list the things currently occupying your mind. This simple exercise immediately separates responsibility from obsession. Then, during the afternoon, choose 1 unresolved responsibility and convert it into direct action. Make the call, handle the bill, send the email, begin the task. Small actions matter because they teach the nervous system. I am capable of responding to life. Then later at night, sit quietly for a few minutes and ask, what mental loop am I feeding right now that no longer deserves this much energy? Name it clearly, then say, I will handle what belongs to me, and I release what does not. Finally, before sleep, ask yourself 1 question. Did I control my character today? Not, did everything go perfectly? Only did I meet reality with honesty, discipline, and self-respect? That question changes the direction of personal growth completely, because now the focus returns to self-command instead of uncontrollable outcomes. Calm is not the absence of problems. It is the absence of unnecessary internal war. Life will always contain uncertainty, changing conditions, unpredictable people. The Stoic mindset does not remove those realities. It changes your relationship to them. You stop demanding guarantees before allowing yourself peace. You stop carrying responsibilities that never belonged to you. And slowly, your energy returns. Not because life becomes lighter, because you stop carrying what was never yours. Real peace is not controlling life. It is learning how to govern yourself inside life. Maybe tonight will look similar to many nights before. The room will become quiet, the distractions will fade, and your mind will once again try to pull you into the future. But this time, pause before following the spiral. Breathe, and remember, not everything belongs to you. The future does not fully belong to you. Other people's opinions do not belong to you. The past no longer belongs to you, but your response does. Your discipline, your attention, your honesty, your ability to remain steady, that is yours. The Stoics never promised a painless life. They offered something more useful, the ability to remain internally stable while life keeps changing around you. That is real strength. Not pretending fear does not exist. Facing uncertainty without surrendering your entire mind to it. And eventually you realize something important. You no longer need life to become perfectly predictable before you allow yourself to live fully. That is freedom. If this video gave language to something you've been carrying quietly, subscribe and continue this journey with me. And before you leave, tell me one thing you are choosing to stop trying to control. Not because you are giving up, because your energy deserves to be invested somewhere real.